Garten of Banban is the most cynical application of the Five Nights at Freddy's inspired Mascot horror playbook I've ever seen. It plays into all of the most generic and trite tropes of the genre to farm money from a largely juvenile audience, or I guess their parents. This game exists entirely to vomit out more characters that can be added into iPad Baby Elsagate type content and sold as marketable plushies. Even more so than contemporaries like Poppy's Playtime, which at least attempt to try and attach some interesting ideas and fun gameplay mechanics to their plushie commercials, this is just bad. It's brain rot in its purest form. Garten of Banban was developed by the Euphoric brothers, who robbed us of their potential magnum opus Poo Poo Monster in favour of releasing this. Prior to Garten of Banban, they tried to make more serious and conventional horror to minimal fanfare and mild controversy, which I don't have time to cover, before fully leaning into the Mascot horror money machine. Garten of Banban is a game full of and absolutely no real substance, a 10 or so minute mid-fest. The sequels aren't much better. It's basically a slapdash proof of concept to try and launch the IP as fast as possible, with the first game featuring a real-world merch store and a link to wishlist the second installment before work had even begun on it. The story wasn't written to actually say anything, rather to facilitate the content mill, to keep the attention economy locked in. Each new chapter is a hastily constructed asset flip with only a handful of original things, mainly the marketable characters, because we gotta move these t-shirts, bro. We gotta sell these plushies. It's all the worst parts of this approach laid bare, and even with this little effort it succeeded because the industry standard has been set, the bar's in hell. Garten of Banban is so extremely substanceless that even other Mascot horror creators turned on it, with the creator of Bendy and the Ink Machine releasing a parody making fun of the game called Meatly's Storage World. However, none of this matters because Garten of Banban isn't the issue. It's symptomatic of the culture we have created, of the industry standards that have been allowed to happen. Garten of Banban is kiddie slop for iPad babies. It's nothing too exceptional or out of the ordinary. I don't highlight it to say this franchise has the hidden potential to be some A24 elevated horror with a change of direction. The game wasn't killed, it was dead on arrival, and I'm far from the target audience. You can disagree with me here, this just isn't for me. I'm not highlighting it to say, oh, this is a game that was killed by law. I'm highlighting to ask, why is this one of the most prominent faces in horror across all demographics? It's fine to have sanitized PG-rated horror for kids. It's bad that this is pretty much the only horror to get exposure in the space because it leans the hardest into this law-first writing. I adored the children's horror movie Monster House, but if every horror movie was Monster House, then I'd probably hate it. I'd hate it even more if instead of just letting me watch the story, it demanded I purchase another movie to get 1/5 of Chowder's ominous backstory.